We're into the countdown, last 30 seconds. Please take your seats. We got a wonderful program tonight. My hair feels like it's like. Aloha kako. Aloha. I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order and let the record reflect that today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2020. Hear me? Yep. Hear me? Sounds like I'm going in and out. Okay, June 18th, 2025, and it is a little after 6:40. At this time, I'd like to ask for Board Secretary for roll call, please.
Aloha mai kako.
Present. Present.
Neil.
Present.
Present.
Mahalo lehua. At this time, I'd like to ask Kapuhana Stacy Ferreira. Stacy, will you please introduce yourself and any of our administrative staff joining us here tonight? And there she is. Go ahead.
Mahalo Chair, Vice Chair, trustees, and all of our beneficiaries who have joined us tonight. Mahalo for your time and for sharing your mana'o and ike tonight. We value it and we value your time. I want to introduce Kehao Pu'u, COO. If you could stand up and mahalo. Ike Kamakea Ohelo, our Director of Oiwi Wellbeing and Aina Momona. Lisa Von Sekona, our Director of Community Engagement. Royce Campbell back there by the front door. He's our Operations Manager. Kevin Chalk, our Senior Systems Administrator. Jason Lees, our Multimedia Designer. Lucy Meyer, our Genealogy Ancestry Specialist. And Malu Lani Ka'akimaka, our Molokaʻi Beneficiary Services Agent. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Stacy. Thank you so much. We have a wonderful presentation, as I mentioned earlier tonight, we have several presenters this evening. But before that happens, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my staff, Trustee A. Pohai. Where's Pohai Ryan? Where is she? Pohai. And Summer Soares, my secretary. Thank you so much. You know, so Pohai had the opportunity to help set up today's Molokaʻi for our board of trustees. And we went to visit Tyler Tanaka's office. And wow, did we learn a lot about what he and his crew are doing to help advance and support our local business people here and abroad. So a lot that we can do to help collaborate with his organization. We also visited All Things Molokaʻi. Oh my goodness. We saw so many wonderful things that our lahui are so talented in presenting their items for sale. So we are very grateful that we're able to go and visit. And I think our trustees, I don't know if you guys went shopping, but I'm going there tomorrow. So thank you very much for setting that up. Also, for the genealogy workshop, I don't know if anyone here attended last night's genealogy workshop. I heard it was a hit. So thank you so much, Lucy. You guys had a big turnout and so much to learn. It is incredible about where we come from. So at this time, also, I'd like to mention that today, after 9 months of our office being closed for various reasons, especially in the interior aspect of office, not inhabitable because of the mold and many other things we found that needed to be corrected. So after 9 months, we find the vision of having to open up with a whole new look, a whole new energy, so that our beneficiaries can come, enjoy. It's basically like your own hale, to come in and to be welcome and to be served. We have today's grand opening. I'd like to thank Uncle Jimmy right there for doing our blessing. So mahalo everyone. So he did the blessing for the Oha grand opening. Thank you so much. And the whole purpose in the design of the office was all about you welcoming your guests into your home. And we wanted to do that on the scale in which when you come in, it's looked like a little living room sitting area. And then you have your own area if you want to go eat a snack. So we designed a coffee bar. And then we also had an area in which this beautiful, gorgeous koa natural wood design table. It serves as your conference table. And then it sits upon a gorgeous apala palai patterned rug for you folks. At this, we also wanted to honor the places that I love about Molokaʻi. So we had the most beautiful scenic views, and you'll see that on the walls as well. And then we also did a special honor for our late trustee and chair, Colette Machado. So you'll see that. And then on the walls by the TV, this huge TV screen, you're going to see old Molokaʻi. All the photos are up there as well. And then of course I want to. Where is Malu? Malu, who are you? That come over here. Come. She hates when I do this. Put her on the spot. Too bad, girl, because I'm gonna keep doing that every time. So I would like to introduce Malu because she and I, for the past 2 days, morning to night, working in that office, trying to pull everything together. And I'd like to thank Royce and his team for doing an amazing job. And for those of you who did come to the grand opening, oh my gosh, it was just incredible. And to see your faces, that was priceless. I love that. So this is your place. And we can't wait to serve you. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more of you because that's going to be where I'm going to have my office now, okay? So I don't need to fly back and forth for weeks and years that I've been doing this. And I don't have a car, so I have to bum rides. But I'll tell you this much, we're going to have a car for the OHA office. I can't wait. And I'm looking forward to that as well. But Malu, thank you so much. And we'll be working a lot together. In the meantime, I'd like to get back to our schedule. We do have some presenters I'd like to bring up before all of you. So, but before we do that, I'd like to have Stacy, our kapohana, please, if you could give an update for our people here. Yes.
Sure, mahalo, Chair. When you folks walked in the front door, there were a bunch of different materials that we had set out for you folks. Hopefully, you picked some up when you joined us. One of those documents is called the Island Community Report, Molokaʻi, the Executive Summary. And if you didn't pick it up on your way in, please make sure that you pick it up on your way out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on just a few things that are in this report. And it's going to be on the funding activities that we're doing here in Molokaʻi. So OHA offers a variety of personal and business loans that are designed to support the financial well-being of Native Hawaiians. And these loans can be used for purposes such as consolidating debt, covering educational expenses, making home improvements, or just addressing personal emergencies. And to assist our beneficiaries with housing stability, OHA has 12 active Malama home improvement loans with a total disbursement of over $261,000. Additionally, addressing the economic challenges of our beneficiaries here on Molokaʻi, OHA has 9 debt consolidation loans with a total disbursement of over $141,000. And as a beneficiary, these financial opportunities to provide housing stability and to address economic challenges, please reach out to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs and our Native Hawaiian Revolving Loan Fund. Those services are available to you. OHA dispersed nearly $14.2 million in funds to 15 grantees that are providing services here on Molokaʻi that range from supporting educational services for Kaiapuni students and Ohana, funding Olelo Hawaii programming, to supporting health education, place-based programming, and supporting child abuse prevention. Of the 15 OHA grantees servicing Molokaʻi beneficiaries, 5 are exclusive to Molokaʻi at over $3 million in total funds. With a focus on OHA's Manaʻi Mauliola, our education strategic outcome, one of the exclusive Molokaʻi grants that was awarded was to the Ho'okāko'o Corporation, a nonprofit organization that manages and supports the Kuala Pu'u Public Charter School, the only charter school and Hawaiian language immersion program for elementary students on Molokaʻi. The award of over $350,000 over 3 years will be for the Ho'okahua project, which will fund teacher licensures and the development and expansion of kumu supports to provide differentiated instruction to Papa Malau, Malao, mahalo, Papa Malao, through, and I practiced that baga too, kalamai, through Papa Elua, kindergarten through second grade in Hawaiian language medium early education for Native Hawaiian children, of whom are expected to achieve at least 70% proficiency rating in academic and language acquisition assessments. And lastly, addressing OHA's strategic health outcomes and exclusive Molokaʻi grant of $240,000 over 2 years was awarded to the Molokaʻi Child Abuse Prevention Pathways for the prevention of child sexual violence. The project aims to educate close to 600 Native Hawaiian youth, pre-K through 12th grade, on how to recognize, prevent, and report child sexual violence. Mahalo, Chair.
Mahalo, Stacy. At this time, I'd like to recognize our trustees. If you would kindly introduce yourself and your aides here today. To my right, or to the end, we'll start with Trustee Akina.
Thank you, Chair. Appreciate that. Aloha mai kakou, everyone. I'm Trustee Keli'i, Trustee at Large. Aloha. And I'd like to introduce one of my staff who's with me today, and that's Karina Lee. It is always wonderful to return to Molokaʻi, and my heart is just overwhelmed when I see the sunset and the beauty and the people. But it's also a bit broken because when I go to look at the grocery stores and the costs of everything, I see what you live with. And we really want to make a difference in terms of being able to help people live, to thrive, to have housing, healthcare, jobs, a booming economy, and yet preserve the Aina. It's not easy. We need you. We need to hear from you tonight. We need to hear your mana'o. And so thank you very much for coming. I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Aloha.
Thank you, Keli'i. Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo. Aloha Pumehana. Aloha no. I'm Kalea Kaka. I'm honored to serve as Oha Oahu trustee. And joining me this evening is Nathan Takeuchi, part of my Akaka team over there, as well as my Ohana, my husband and baby over there in Cabo. Oh, mahalo. Mahalo. I want to say mahalo anui for all of you, to all of you for joining us this evening, as it helps us stay on the needs and concerns, to be able to stay on the pulse of what the community needs to express to us, to hear what is working, how we can maybe work more together and how we can collaborate. And I want to say mahalo to our Molokaʻi trustee and Molokaʻi Lanai trustee and her team for making all of this possible, as well as administration and the chair's office. We've had a really great huaka'i today. And last night, as it was mentioned, the genealogy workshop, I see the faces of those, for the keiki to kupuna that were there last night. Mahalo nui for joining. I think Auntie Lucy, Ma have done an excellent job in providing that wealth of information. And I encourage all, if you did go last night, to please testify and share your mana'o on how you feel about after attending it, and we'd be interested to hear all that. But mahalo nui for joining us again. I'm looking forward to hearing your testimony. Mahalo.
Thank you, Kalei. Next, we have Trustee Souza.
Aloha mai kākou. It's great to be here. I'm Keone Souza, Vice Chair of the Board, also Chair of the Investment and Land Management Committee. I'd like to introduce my staff, or one member of my staff, Rochelle Kim. Aloha.
Thank you, Keone. And to my left, we have Trustee Kai Kahele, Chair of the Board.
Aloha, aloha, ahi ahi kako. Mahalo, Chair. It's an honor to be here, and it's great to be back here on Molokaʻi. And this is my third time coming to Molokaʻi, wearing a different hat, but it really is truly an honor to be serving as a trustee on the Office of Hawaiian Affairs with my fellow trustees and our hardworking administration. And it's great to be here on Molokaʻi. And I just want to mahalo everyone for coming out tonight. We really appreciate your time. We know your time is valuable. You have families, but we are here to hear from you. And we just really appreciate you coming. I want to mahalo the cooks in the back and everybody that made the food. Thank you for them. And I have two members of my staff here, Lehua Itokazu, who is the Board of Trustees Board Secretary, and then Alina Ayong, who is our Deputy Chief of Staff for the Board of Trustees. Mahalo.
Thank you, Kai. And next we have Chair Emerita Hulu Lindsay.
Aloha, aloha mai kako. Hulu Lindsay from Maui, and so happy to be back again to meet with all of you. We invite you to come and share your thoughts, your concerns, even your happiness. We like to hear about that. Thank you for having us. Aloha.
Thank you. And John Waihee, our trustee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Aloha mai kako Molokaʻi. I am John Waihee the fourth, trustee at large. You know, I've had so many great experiences on this trip that I do want to thank all the people that helped put all these meetings together, and our lovely friend and trustee from Molokaʻi, Trustee Alapa, for hosting us and welcoming us so nicely. And most of all, I want to thank everybody from Molokaʻi joining us here and virtually. And I look forward to hearing what you have to say and what you want to tell us. My aide is Crane Aquina. He's over there. So, again, mahalo.
Thank you so much. Thank you, trustees, for your presence here. I really appreciate you supporting me here with on our island meeting for our community. Next on our agenda, we have a very special recognition for someone you pretty much all know. It is a great honor to recognize an educator and leader in our community. I would like to call upon Lydia Mariza Trinidad. You could please kindly come up. So I'm going to have you stand here because stand right over here and face everybody. She's going to hate this, but that's okay. It's her last time to be put on the spot. So I would like to read some fascinating things about you so that people here would know your background and so forth. So Lydia has been transformative as the principal of Kuala Lumpur Public Conversion Charter School on Molokaʻi for nearly 3 decades, 30 years almost, right? Leaving a strong impact on academics, culture, and student wellness. Her leadership and legacy, she served as principal since 1996 and will retire at the end of the 24-25 school year, completing 28 years in this role. As an alumna of Kuala Lumpur School herself, she's deeply tied to the community and its students. On the educational innovation, she has led the school's conversion to a charter in 2004, granting flexibility to improve academic outcomes and enrich student experiences. Under her guidance, Kuala Lumpur reversed underperformance, regained good standing, and saw strong gains in math and reading proficiency. Oh my gosh, terrific. In the areas of culture and wellness, Lydia has also expanded the school day to include daily physical education, performing in Hawaiian arts, reflecting her belief that PE is a core subject. That was my favorite subject in school, and now to get it every day. Oh my gosh. All right, so not only that, she's championed the health and nutrition initiatives like the Pu'olo obesity prevention program funded through OHA grants, supported development of Kapau Nui, Hawaiian immersion curriculum, and helped self-publish bilingual reading materials used statewide. Gosh, there's so much more. Okay, so in addition to that, in the community and infrastructure, she introduced a preschool program, lengthened school day, and integrated STEM arts and culture into the academic schedule. She managed campus infrastructure challenges like unreliable water systems and continuously advocating for improvements for student health and safety. Ms. Trinidad will continue contributing to educational leadership via the Ho'okako'o Corporation, which is basically mentoring new administrators. And you have a new administrator. Would you like to introduce her?
I think this person needs no introduction. But I'm really happy to have well, I have to kind of backtrack because really only the past 4 years, Molokaʻi has all of its school administrators come from Molokaʻi. So, having our transition, one of the things I really was kind of public about, it'd be really cool, really neat, really important if we can find our own, find a leader from our own community and from Kuala Pu'u. So really want to introduce Ka'alafe Kamara. Again, she needs no introduction. She's smarter than me. She was a fiscal officer at UH Hilo or not? Okay, UH Hilo. She was a student at Kuala Pu'u. And I going through some papers. She was a model student. Mr. Kobayashi, if you remember those times. She was a teacher at Molokaʻi Puni. She was a curriculum coordinator, and she stepped up to the plate. And this past year was the quote unquote interim VP, but we knew that I knew she was the person to move forward with the school. So that's my introduction to this person who needs no introduction. So, but anyway, Ka'alafe.
Thank you so much for that. And I'd like to complete the last of your recognition. Principal Trinidad, your vision has shaped Kuala Lumpur into a culturally grounded, academically strong, wellness-centered school. And with your retirement, you leave behind a school unified in both Hawaiian identity and scholastic excellence, ready to thrive under new leadership, as you've just introduced your new principal. At this time, I'd like to present to you. So you want to hold this for a sec? Actually, so here's a certificate on behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. If you could, okay, yes. On behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, we'd like to present to you this recognition of all that we share tonight about you. And thank you so much for your years of service to our people. Mahalo. Now we're gonna do pictures. Okay, so come up over here. Just stand up over here. Okay, so come behind. And if anybody get camera, just come over in the middle and send some pictures to us, okay? So trustees, everyone, if you would kindly stand over here on the stage so that we can have our principal Lydia come. No, we're gonna do a group picture. Thank you so much once again. How about a round of applause for Lydia, Principal Lydia. She was so kind to allow me to come to the school. She took me on a nice tour and oh God, you talk about impressive. This is just incredible. Wish all the schools was like Kuala Lumpur. I do have someone who'd like to come up and testify on behalf of Lydia. So I'd like to call upon Ruth Costales. Where's Ruth? We have Ruth. Hi. Oh yeah, go up there. The mic right there, yeah.
Aloha. Shucks, I didn't know I was going to be the first speaker. I was used to being like in the middle or ending it all, but anyway. Aloha mai kako, and welcome back to Molokaʻi. I get planning things I can talk about tonight, but I'm gonna try to keep it short, as short as possible. My mother was a one of your beneficiaries. And till today, she still receives Kawai Ola, even though if she passed since 2013. Anyway, so my name is Ruth Kanani Edmund Costales. I'm going to stand before all of you today and introduce to you who I really am. I stand before you presenting to you the legacy of Kalaupapa. So I am born of leper patients and I am adopted by leper patients. So till today, this very day, every single patient in Kalaupapa that lives knows who I am, knows who my family is, and knows who my grandchildren is. So it was nice to see this edition of Kawai Ola to have so much articles about our island and how befitting it is to have this right here. Kalaupapa, who holds the kuleana to decide? So growing up in the 1970s here in Molokaʻi, I think I was the only kid who could speak fluent Hawaiian because my adopted mama was a stutterer. And the only way she could teach me how to speak was the Hawaiian language, because the Hawaiian language was a rolling conversation, and whatever venue it took to make anyone to navigate the understanding of what you were speaking about is how we were taught. So my mom always told me our people were never a written language, it was of oral language. But how much benefit it is today to have it written because of its rich history that our people can show the future. So growing up on the top side of Molokaʻi, I'm gonna be real honest with you. Our people here, most of our people here are very friendly, but most of our people here will remind you of who you are. And I was a leper. In all my life of being here, and even down to my children, you would think by the 90s and the 2000s, that whole thing would have been done. But it wasn't. My children went to school, they were called lepers. But that's okay, because you know why? Little did anybody know what legacy Kalaupapa was to have. I seen the good and I seen the bad. And you know, to have the Kalaupapa the national park to be a part of Kalaupapa, I knew the very first, his name was Henry Law. He married a woman named Always Kinsis. She was the first lady that went down to Kalaupapa and truly got the history of each patient that was still alive. I was honored to dance at their wedding when they got married in Kalaupapa. We all think sometimes the federal government get one double standard. But if you look at it, we all have double standards. There are times when we think our United States government can be crooked, and yes, and then no. And sometimes it's the dynamics of the place that they're at. So Molokaʻi is a real special place because if you look at it, Molokaʻi is dead center in the middle of the state of Hawaii. Whereas Hawaii is dead center in the middle of the world. And if you know the story and the mo'olelo and the foretelling of what Molokaʻi was to be and is to become, it's already happening. It's happening in different venues, and some of these venues we may not agree. But when it comes to Kalaupapa, Kalaupapa was not only one leper colony. Kalaupapa was a fishing village. And at that time, the territory of Hawaii and the owners of the northern part, where actually I live, which is the Meyer family, which was gifted to them, I believe, by Princess Ruth, who gave it to her cousin, Princess Pauahi, who ended up gifting a part of it to the woman that married the R.W. Meyer. He was one of the first administrators of Kalaupapa when it became, because you had to pass through their land to get to the trail to get down to the settlement. You hear many stories of how they were dropped off on the northern part of Kalaupapa. And yeah, my dad was sent there, my adopted dad was sent there in 1942. So he was one of the last that came through Kalaupapa, that came through Kalawao before the tidal wave. But Kalaupapa, not all residents left. Some of the residents, so my children, my 4 children, and their older siblings, their roots span from Kalaupapa, from Kalawao, the whole North Shore side coming to Halawa Valley, all the way up to, I believe, Kainalu, where the Naki family live. My children are Nahopi'i, Kawa'a, Kamana'o, Pa'ahau, Hosea, Mahi'ai, Maka'iwi. That is my children. But you know, from then to now, I have seen Kalaupapa evolve into some good and some concerns. What I'm here tonight to ask OHA is to support, or if any, when you hear the issue of Kalaupapa, to really research into its background. Now, everybody like be a part of Kalaupapa. My mother called it a place of milk and honey. She goes, come on, you know what milk and honey is? I go, yeah, milk and honey. She goes, no, milk and honey is a place where everything is so sweet, so beautiful. You think we had one hard life. Yes, they did at the beginning, but they all ended up becoming one family. They love each other, they hate each other. It was a soap opera day in and day out. They went from their house every single day with their dogs and everything else, every single day, right around. Now, if you've been down to Kalaupapa, you guys all know, from the beginning of the trail to the airport, it's like a 10-minute ride. From the beginning of the trail, you go all the way to Kalawao, come all the way back around to the airport. It's like an hour because you're going to go rough roading terrain. And you're going to see the histories, and you can feel the history. Today, with what little patience we have, with what little kupuna that are still here to share that history of what they've experienced, I encourage you to listen, because it's a part of all our history. So when you ask the deciding factors of the Kuleana, it should be those that were involved from day one. And I'm gonna be real blunt. It should be me, my 4 children, and their dad. And those that stood by the people of Kalaupapa and Kalaupapa itself to preserve whatever it has left of the history that shares. Kalaupapa was not only one place for Native Hawaiians. To tell you the truth, they came from all over the world. I had people flying from Okinawa who wanted to interview with me because they wanted to know how the lives of their people was down in Kalaupapa. There's relics that are down there that shows you the history of the many different cultures. When I walk, wherever I walk Molokaʻi, but I also walk many nations. I take the nations of my biological and I take the nations of my adopted family, because that's who I am and that's who we are. So I don't want to take any more anybody's time. You know, I was trying to cry out on my tears so that when I come up here, I don't have to cry in front of you. But I thank you again for coming. I thank you for putting this and many other articles that talks about Molokaʻi. And my hope and my prayer is that when you leave, and every time you leave Molokaʻi, You take a part of Molokaʻi that you've never experienced in your life when you come here. And I just wanted to say also congratulations to Kuala Lumpur School. Lydia, I remember, I think you one of the reasons why I still stayed in education. Ka'alafe, I remember catching the bus with you when you was a little girl, you and your sister. But congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to those of you that are in here. Uncle Walter Reedy was one of those that stood by Kalopapa from day one. I lived behind Pelikunu, I remember. But thank you to all of you. And thank you for giving me the time to speak. Ahoy ho.
Mahalo. Thank you so much for a beautiful story of your hometown. At this time, we'd like to bring out our first community presenter, and this was with the Molokaʻi Child Abuse Prevention Pathways, MCAPP. We have Talia Cardenas. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up for testimony on? Oh, that was, okay. Sorry, I kind of went out of order, but go ahead.
Aloha. My name is Talia Cardenas, and I'm the Executive Director of Molokaʻi Child Abuse Prevention Pathways. And the first thing I want to say is thank you folks so much for all the work that you folks did and the staffing at OHA. We were given our first opportunity to be awarded, and we take it very seriously. We're going to be working over the next 2 years to increase access to prevention of child sexual violence. We have Titi here, who I started 4 years ago. Titi has been with this organization, but doing the work for a long time, 13 years specifically. And so I wanted to introduce her, and she will tell you about the program. Thank you, Talia.
Aloha, trustees. Thank you for having Molokaʻi Child Abuse Prevention Pathways here tonight, and thank you for funding us. Like Talia said, I've been at MCAP here in Molokaʻi since it started, which was 2011. You might be thinking, wow, what kind of work we do here, yeah, Molokaʻi. We do education on sexual violence. That's not one easy topic for talk about, okay? And I guess I gotta tell this story because when I first started at it was formerly known as Consuelo Foundation. So Consuelo Foundation came over and they wanted to do this project on Molokaʻi. And what they did was they organized a focus group. And that focus group comprised of kupuna, service providers in our community, and some community members. And basically, they asked one question at that focus group. They asked, and how are the children? That was the only question they asked the kupuna and the people that attended that focus group. And it's amazing because just with that one question, our kupuna and our service providers and our community members came up with our children of Molokaʻi not good. Okay, this was 2011. Our children of Molokaʻi are faced with things that I'm sure every place else goes through this, but because we are such a small island, yeah, it's more recognizable. More people knew it was going on. Sexual violence is nothing new. Sexual violence has been going on since 1974 and maybe even further than that. But it came to the light in 2011 with this focus group. And that's how we started to do sexual violence prevention and education on the island. Because back then, the call from the kupuna, their concern was very valid. Yeah. So I always get this question whenever I do this education. You for real get sexual violence on Molokaʻi? Yeah. When I first started cocky, I was like, okay, this is a job. I got this. No more sexual violence over here. I did not believe that. And then I was given the question by my executive director at that time, go home and think about it. If you know any ohana, you get any ohana, you know anybody that was touched by sexual violence.
Okay, went home the next day, I went back to work. Cry, cry, cry. Because it came to me. Yeah. Excuse me. Sexual violence is big time here in Molokaʻi. Back then in 2011, given the task of talking to kupuna, my kuleana was to start kupuna groups and to ask kupuna if they know sexual violence and if it was going on. And this wasn't the guys that was involved with the focus group. This was a whole different kupuna group. And it was amazing that a lot of the kupuna did not know what sexual violence was. There was no name for it. They knew something was wrong. They knew it happened to their family. They knew it happened to a lot of their friends, but sexual violence, it wasn't called sexual violence to them. Yeah. Fast forward where we stay here today. It was supposed to be only a 5-year project. It's been 13 years now that I've been going into the schools. So we are in every single school on this island. And we talk about sexual violence. It's age-appropriate curriculum that we present. So in some schools, we do pre-K. So we go from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade. And basically, when we first started, shame, never know how to talk about it. Nobody like listen, yeah? Everybody hush hush. Today is a little bit different, yeah? So also when I started back then, changing the mindset of our island, I never thought that could happen, but it is, yeah? Being consistent every single year, talking story with the kids, going into the classroom, and we don't only educate the children, we also educate the faculty and the staff of the schools, and we also do a parent presentation. Yeah. In the last 2 years, our program has extended crazy, the kind of requests that we have from schools and from community. And it's just kind of bummers because our agency, I'm the only prevention educator. Yeah. We only had a staff of 3. Now we got a staff of 4, but I'm still the only prevention educator that goes into the classrooms. But it's amazing how mindsets are changing on Molokaʻi. Everybody here, if you're from Molokaʻi, we grew up with this, you keep quiet, you mind your own business. Yeah, say nothing, that's not your business. Today, we still get that small kind, but people are willing to talk about it now. The kids, there has never been a year that I've gone into the schools where I've never gotten a disclosure. I get disclosures every single time that I go into the school. And when I talk about disclosures, they're disclosing that they're being sexually violated. Okay, so mahalo for you guys funding us. That's really awesome, and the more people that can throw money our way, right on. Maybe we can get another prevention educator. Yeah, and I think that's the goal that we're working towards. Let's make sure I never leave nothing out, sorry. We provide, I think the one thing people have asked me, like, what does success look like when we go into the schools? And basically, to me, success when I go into the school is when I get one child ask me one question about sexual violence, because I know something going on with them. That's my success when I go into the school. I wear different hats in our community. I also sit up on this community action team where we respond to sexual violence. I'm also a crisis advocate for sexual violence. So I'm finding now that once we started having this talk story in our community, talking about this sensitive topic, we not only get disclosures on sexual violence, we're getting disclosures on domestic violence, child abuse and neglect, yeah, substance abuse. When we do go into the schools, That's the kind of disclosures the kids are giving now. Yeah. And I always make sure the kids know, even when I talk to the parents and faculty, I'm not there. I'm not a policeman. I'm not there for tell you what you're doing wrong. And I'm going to put your name in with MPD. No, that's not why I'm there. I'm there because I believe that Molokaʻi used to be one place, yeah, where it takes a village to raise a child. It used to be really strong, that mentality. It's died along the way. I hate to say that. Yeah. It's slowly coming back. That's what we're trying for build. We're trying for make sure that our kids get a safe space. We're trying for make sure that families know you need help. Ask for help. No more shame in that. No more shame for ask for help. Yeah. This is generational trauma. These are things that have happened over and over and over again. So trying to break that mindset and that mentality, yeah, I love it. I'm born and raised Molokaʻi. My ohana is Adolfo. I get one really good family support system. Me, everything is relationships. I do not break any relationship. Anybody here in Molokaʻi know that. You get one relationship, you're gonna foster that relationship forever. Yeah, and that's what it is. It's just having respect, going in there with that mentality that you're not better than them. I always go in with that mentality. I'm not better than you. But the kids know me. I'm Auntie Titi. We've seen, I want to say, over 900 kids a year. That's how much kids we educate a year. Yeah, they call us back. So there's even more that we go into the schools, because every time we go into the school, they tell, you know, can just stay here in the school and come every single week. Oh, I wish I could. Yeah, but we no can. We no more capacity. Out of the 900 kids, I want to say 95% of them is Native Hawaiian. So when you talk about reaching our Hawaiian people, we reaching our Hawaiian people. We reaching our families. We reaching our kids. Yeah. So mahalo. You know, every time I do one conference, every time I do a presentation, I write everything down. And then when I sit down, I say them all. So I just like make sure, because I can beat myself up.
May I ask, when you
Sorry.
mentioned about you don't have the capacities, is the staffing, you're looking for more?
Yes. So when I say we're looking, we need more capacity, yeah, we cannot just go there and hire anybody. Yeah, we look for certain, we gotta look for the person that get this sensitivity, culturally respectful. Yeah, no more kind of attitude that I am better than you. And it's hard. It's hard to find. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I covered it all. So mahalo, you guys got any questions for me?
Trustees? I think you have any, right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For informing us. I was, really appreciate that. Mahalo. At this time, we'd like to call upon our next presenter. This one is going to be with, our next speaker is Kilia Purdy Avelino. Do we have anyone testifying on this particulars? Okay. All right, may I have Kilia? It's with the Ho'oliho Hawaiian Homestead Association for the 2025 Prince Kuhia Ho'olaulea Molokaʻi 2025 event. Is that, where is she? There she is. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were sitting there. Hi, aloha.
Aloha.
Go ahead.
Aloha mai kako, aloha chair, trustees, OHA staff, aloha friends and family, and our kupuna in the room. Before I even start, I wanted to acknowledge there's a lot of community advocacy people in here. Mahalo everybody for you guys' hard work and efforts in our community. I didn't see you guys on the agenda, so I just want to acknowledge that because I see many people in here that do the work. But I also wanted to acknowledge some of our kupuna that are not part of organizations that still do the work, and they do it without the funding. Uncle Bobby Alkane, he has been one of my mentors for at least since 2011. I see Uncle Jimmy Duvashel and Uncle Mango, their efforts that they're starting in, and just community, just volunteer, bringing back the Paniolo culture and the Mo'olelo and the stories in our community, and wanting to revive that, and they want to do more. And so I don't know if they're going to speak tonight, but I wanted to make sure you guys see those that are in our community that are not part of the organizations. I do have, thank you for making me small on the screen. That's good. So I am here representing Ho'olehua homesteaders. I am a fourth generation Hawaiian homesteader of Ho'olehua. My tutu was Kalei Lindsay, married to Harry Purdy, senior of Waimea, and moved here in the early 1920s as my tutu Kalei was a strong advocate for Hawaiian homesteading during the initiation in the early 1920s, even before she got her lands. And we see that in a lot of her articles that she has written in the Hawaiian newspapers. Today, we have at least 6 generations on our homestead, which I think many of these original families have at least 6 generations still here on Molokaʻi in Ho'olehua. I know there were, this article here, October 1924, was when the first wave of Ho'olehua homesteaders that included my tutu Kalei Lindsay received their lease. And there were 3 waves through 1928 in this area of Ho'olehua. Some of them, of the earlier families, actually moved and lived in Kalama'ula and lived with other families before receiving their lease. Can go to the next one. So, our Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association, and we have our president here. I'm not on the board of Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association, so I was asked to speak on the scholarship side, but also got plugged in to this. So this is Charlie Ka'ahanui. He is our president of the Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association. And we have Trisha Mersberg, who will speak a little later. She is the VP. And we have, my husband? Oh, my husband, I guess he's somewhere outside. He is one of the directors. But we, a little bit of history about Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association that kind of ties in with the scholarships. We, at one point, when I moved back home in 2004-05, and mahalo Lydia, because Lydia was my teacher too. So congratulations, Lydia, for all your service, for all of us. She was my middle school English teacher. And then when I came back home, I started in the Kayapuni school. So I worked for Lydia. And when I came back home during that time, we actually had 2 Ho'olehua Homestead Associations. One was Ho'olehua Ag that was started later, and one was Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association, which was the first Hawaiian Homestead Association on Molokaʻi, started about the 1967. So later down the road, I think around the 80s or so, Ho'olehua Ag began. And so we had 2 by the time I came home. Right around COVID time, the kupuna of Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association were having hard time doing meetings and keeping up, and they were gonna dissolve Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association. But instead, we said, leave the legacy, let's merge. And so since then, that's the board that we have. They have Luann Favorito, and we have the Ka'awai Ohana as well, two Wayne and Rufina. Christy Pereira. Am I missing anybody else? So there's about 7 board members and they're going strong. With each board member, they also created, each of them have committees. One of them is the scholarship committee in which I'm part of. Trisha also leads one committee, which she'll be speaking on. So anyway, I had to put the ties in there. Why am I speaking on the 100-year anniversary? So this past year, and mahalo to OHA for sponsoring, Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association decided to celebrate the 100 years, being that from between 1924 and 1926. Though the first awards given in 1924, as we noticed, October 1924, so kind of late. By the time they settled on their homesteads, the 25 would have made like the 100 years settled on Ho'olehua lands. So they carried out the celebration here in Kuala Pu'u Park, food, craft vendors, cultural workshops, all kinds of stuff happened at the 100 years. So mahalo for OHA support. Can go to the next one. Oh, I think I get some pictures. Yeah, mahalo. Can go again. Yeah, so we had cultural workshops, food booths. That right in the middle bottom, that's our scholarship committee actually fundraising for our scholarships there. And a lot of our cultural workshops was actually done by some of my high school youth. So mahalo as well, because I noticed Molokaʻi is on your guys's for education, and I'm a kumu at Molokaʻi, so thank you for that as well. Okay, next one. Okay, at the celebration, Luana also donated from her nonprofit. This was her second donation to our scholarship fund, Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association Scholarship Fund. So mahalo Luana for your donation. Can continue. Before that, May 10th, so now kind of talking about our scholarship committee, one of the first things we did was do a scholarship luau. OHA had sponsored a table during that luau, so thank you folks for that. We can go on to the next. During this scholarship luau, we wanted to honor 2 of our Ho'olehua Homestead kupuna who not just served over 20 years in our Ho'olehua Homestead Association, but they were 2 that started the scholarship committee. So they also helped me when I went to college. This scholarship fund helped me continue my higher education, which is why I wanted to give back in this way and be part of the committee that fundraises and gives back to our community. Auntie Oche Bush and Auntie Winona Kaava. That same luau, we actually also honored because Uncle Zachary Helm, he was our commissioner, Hawaiian Homestead Commissioner at the time. He was actually gonna be done with his commission, so we also honored him. We were able to give the 2 awards. These were our first 2 awards since the new board and since the committee began. To 2 scholars, 2 young scholars there that just graduated high school. Okay, can go to the next. This was also, then December 10th, we did another, we usually have an annual Christmas pa'ina. And from that luau, we raised more funds, plus we got Tides. Tides has been one of the nonprofit organizations that have donated since they started the scholarship fund for Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association. So we just got that back into action. We got it a little late, so we decided to do a spring awards, and we announced the recipients at our December 10th Christmas pa'ina. Can go to the next. So that was at our Christmas pa'ina. Again in Ho'olehua. Okay, my eyes is bad, but that's the recipients there. We were able to give 5 total awards since we started. And what we decided to do, and I have to mahalo our committee for really being actively involved in our decision-making. We actually decided, in speaking with our community and the financial aid at the college, there's very little funding for higher education. So bachelor's and beyond, very little, very competitive, especially those that want to go and get their PhDs. In fact, we were specifically asked, do you guys do PhD level? And we're like, yes, we want to do bachelor's and beyond more so, because also my job at Kanuokaʻaina is early college, and there's choke programs and choke funding for high schoolers already. Where there's lesser funds is with the PhDs, masters. So that's the ones we wanted to really focus on and put effort into. The other thing is students who start later. Not all of them are starting in the fall. Some start in the spring and they have nothing to start with. And today, our kids are being a little bit more mindful of their finances, and they're like, I don't want to be in debt right out the gate, you know, with student loans. So those are the things that we do. We're being mindful of, and these are my mahalo list. Hollywood Homesteaders Association, our education committee, our members. Why our members too? Because before we had the luau, we would do kuhio de boots, and our Hollywood Homestead members would donate whatever they grow, whatever they make, plants, they bring them, we sell them, that goes directly to our scholarship fund, direct. Everybody who is involved in it is all volunteers, so 100% goes back to scholarships. So I have to mahalo our Ho'olehua Homestead members and our committee. I wanna actually take this time to send out our aloha and pule to the kapu ohana, Auntie Donna Kapu, and Uncle John, who has been a part of our scholarship committee as well. The Tides Foundation and Ho'ohana Molokaʻi for, this is just a start. We just started this, we still going. And then the next slide is my ask to Oha. Gosh, I should have put them on my phone. Okay, so. Oh, does it come on? Okay. Okay, so my request to OHA is to support our Hollywood Homesteaders Association scholarship efforts through direct funding, through scholarship fundraising events. We're looking at our next big fundraising event being a Sunday brunch type of thing, or in other ways. We also ask that you consider more bachelor's and beyond scholarships for Native Hawaiians. Consider spring semester scholarships, because for those late comers that not thinking yet, they didn't make the decision early enough, but they want to start in the spring. Consider funding certificates. I'm also on the advisory board for our UH Molokaʻi campus, our UH Maui College Molokaʻi campus. And we just had a meeting right before this. And so some of what was shared is, what's being noticed is right out of high school that they weren't in early college, they going in, but the success rate isn't that great. But our kids today, we're in a different era too, yeah? We all know with social media, everything is like brief, fast. They cannot sit long, they don't want long-term kind of things, they're doing things in short increments. So why the certificates, yeah? So think about that too. But those like in our generation that want to go beyond, we also need that support. College programs, I was just, our coordinator just reported too, our Hawaiian Studies program is low here. And when we were there, Pulama's husband, myself, some of our other kumu, we had high rate in Hawaiian Studies, now it's low. We need a faculty position specified for Molokaʻi. There were 3 times since I worked at the college from 2011 as an instructor that funding came down the wire through UH Maui College for Hawaiian Studies faculty, and Molokaʻi never was considered for just 1 faculty position for Hawaiian Studies. Everything always goes to Maui. And when I speak of like our college, I'm also speaking to our rural areas like Hana, like Lanai, like Lahaina, because when I was teaching as a lecturer here, oftentimes I would take care of Lanai students, Hana students, and I would just be asked like, you mind having them in your, no, whatever, we might as well take them all. Because just like how we struggle, sometimes they struggle even more than we do, especially in the remote locations. So I'm actually pushing for, oh, and internships. Our coordinator also told me, internships too for our students who are taking college classes that can get paid, but also get their credits paid. And we've run a program like that before through our farm, and that was successful. So more of that kinds of things. We got to be innovative when we're looking at higher education, because the times have changed. This era, this generation has changed, but we still do need the funding and stuff. So mahalo. Thank you. I think that's it.
Is that it? All right, everyone, nice round of applause for Kilia. What a wonderful presentation. Education, education, education. I'm all about that, especially in pursuing higher education for those who've graduated with a degree and would like to pursue their master's and doctorate. I'd love to see more doctors here on Molokaʻi. And at this time, though, I'd like to make a little announcement because we are looking at funding. You heard that? Funding for 26, 250,000 for higher education scholarships, and in FY 27, 250,000. So we heard you. We definitely hear you. Thank you so much. At this time now, we'd like to move on to our next, thank you so much. We'd like to move on to our next presenter. This is from the Ho'okako'o Corporation. Do we have anyone testifying on this? All right, we have Ka'ala, Faye Camera.
I'm going to go ahead and start.
Oh, Lilia, yeah, go ahead.
Both of us.
Go ahead.
No, I just really want to thank OHA and the trustees for funding these community projects. As you know, charter schools tend to be underfunded, and we have been the recipients from Nale Nauau and Kanuoka'aina. Through that route, we receive OHA charter fundings, and most recently, OHA funding for facilities. And that has made a big impact. It's allowed us to get cameras for health and safety. I can see who's prowling around campus late at night, and we have. And that's provided a sense of safety for our community. It's also provided a sense of safety to look at the cameras to see what kids who did something and need more help. So those are just small examples of the charter funding that you have given. Also throughout the years, again, being at Kuala Pu'u, we've applied for at least 3 community grants. The first was the Pu'ola grant. PE is a core subject. That was a health one. And one of the outcomes of that, it seems small, but trying to convince children to drink water and educating them about avoiding sugary drinks through the Pu'ola grant. We were like still the only school that served deer meat as part of our school food service program. We still need to go back to them, but we are probably also the only school on Molokaʻi. I know there are efforts to expand it to serve poi in our schools and use uala as part of our regular servings. But that's the impact of having what we were a conversion. Now we're in what I call an independent charter school. We run our own cafeteria. So we can manage the recipes, we manage through Ho'okako'o the menus, and I know people now are trying to incorporate more local foods and vegetables, but I would say we tried to do that early on with our Pu'ola grant. The second grant we applied for was our Keawa Ho'omalu grant called Safe Harbor. That was in response to COVID, where we really saw an uptick in negative behaviors, challenging behaviors. And so we really wanted to get our system of supports to our children. One of the key outcomes of that grant was providing a key staff member that literally checked on identified children 4 or 5 times a day. Are you okay? Are you using your strategies? Are you meeting your goals? And just through that contact, we've been able to reduce a lot of antisocial behaviors. So, and the funding has ended, but we've managed to absorb
that position into our budget. But as you know, budgets are being cut and we anticipate impacts moving forward. So your continued funding is important to all the schools, to charter schools. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, to keep those community grants coming. And now our third grant, which we applied for last year with Ka'alafe.
Ai, aloha nui kākou e nā kupuna, nā ohana, a me nā ka papa'alaka'i o OHA, Office of Hawaiian Affairs, aloha nui kākou. So excited to be here tonight to present on one of our funding opportunities that OHA was so gracious to award us. But before we start, I want to mahalo our kupuna, our kaiaulu, all of our community members for being here tonight. As a new po'okumu coming into our kula, I've been an educator in Hawaiian immersion for the past 25 years or so. Moving back to Molokaʻi, where I was raised, born and raised, is just full circle. Coming back to my kaiaulu and being able to service our keiki is such a blessing. He po mai ka'i wale no ho'i. Mahalo. I want to thank Lydia, mahalo ya Lydia, her a'oa'o, all of her teachings, all of these years, the hard things, the great things, the fun things, the not so fun things, has been a great experience, learning experience. And we're so excited for her retirement. She's done so much for this community. And stepping up to the plate was a no-brainer. On Molokaʻi, you're raised to awamo kuleana. As you can see, a lot of us wear many hats on Molokaʻi. So when I was having to talk to the OHA office, it's like, ke ka'alafe, wait, didn't I just talk to you about the Hui Makua organization? Okay, now we're talking about Kuala Pu'u School. Now we're talking about facilities. We wear many hats on Molokaʻi, so if you get confused, just ask somebody. So I'm coming to you tonight in response to this grant that we received this year from Kuala Pu'u School. I do have my phone because like Kilia, I cannot see. So just to share really fast, Kuala Pu'u School's vision and mission is to build a strong foundation for lifelong learning so that our keiki with proper nurturing will be able to discover and grow and develop skills and confidence. And like the uala known in this area, be able to withstand adversity and strive in this ever-changing world. And we know nowadays, Molokaʻi is not like how it used to be, even 20 years ago when we grew up. So educating our keiki takes a little different spin on things. But the one thing that we want to keep is always our ike kupuna and the ways of Molokaʻi. The good things with the keiki nowadays, they all have their devices and they know a lot more than we do before we do. But how do we still keep them grounded and build that firm foundation for them? So this is our mission of our school. I pa'amau ka ike mauli o ia ke kahua o kea'o, I ulu e ao o e he uala ma hua hua o Kuala Pu'u. And so this grant was meant to build a firm foundation by enhancing student achievement in Hawaiian language immersion education. So this was geared towards our Kulakaya Puni program specifically. And it was meant to help build capacity on Molokaʻi for our kumu. And like Kilia said, those before us, we do not have a lot of opportunities for our residents, our locals, our kama'aina on Molokaʻi to further their education. Nowadays, to assume a certain role or occupation, you need to have your palapala, at least your bachelor's. And so mahalo to the scholarship programs with the Homestead Association. These are the types of funding that our residents and our ohana
our parents, our young ones need to further their education. So Kuala Pu'u has been vested in the last couple years in building capacity for our local residents. We had a large influx of, well, teacher shortages are prevalent all over the state. And so how do we bring in teachers to teach our classrooms? We've had a lot of teachers come in from the Aina E, Ma'oa o Okahonua, stay a little while. Molokaʻi is not their fit, or life happens and they ha'alele. And so our keiki, our ma'a, to this turnover, and it's hard to build pilina and maintain that trust with your kumu. And so we changed our way of hiring our personnel, and we want to invest in our local residents and our makua and our kaiaulu. So we wrote this grant for our immersion program to be able to maintain smaller classrooms, support upcoming teachers who are seeking certification. We partnered with UH Maui College and UH Manoa to find ways for them to attend school virtually, because a lot of our parents are not able to go off island and attend face-to-face classes. So this grant is allowing us to do that. It's a 3-year grant. If it moves to the 3-year grant, we are coming into our 2nd year. We'll be starting our 2nd year. And this allows our kumu in Papa Mala'o to Papa Elua. So kindergarten to 2nd grade in our immersion program. Those years where we're building that foundation for the keiki at Kula, coming to school, understanding their role, their kuleana as a haumana, contributing to their papa, their kula, going home to their ohana, and also helping to keep our makua and ohana engaged in their keiki's learning opportunities. So this grant is helping us do that. We're so mahalo ia keia kala. And if we move to the next, as a keiki Molokaʻi, we know that no matter how hard we try, we're all interconnected, whether we like it or not. We wake up every day and we are all connected in so many ways, and we wear many papale. So everything we do each day as an educator and a leader at Kuala Pu'u School, always thinking about how does this pot of money complete the objectives of this grant, but how can I leverage this money to affect the greater community, to affect all the people of Molokaʻi? So here are some examples. We are the only elementary immersion program on island. So we bus our keiki from east to west for elementary K through 6. And so this grant is giving us the opportunity to strengthen that foundation for those keiki, their ohana, so that we can go out into the community and have a greater effect when it comes to language acquisition. We partner, and we try to partner with a lot of our community organizations, our cultural experts, our kupuna in the community. I can look around the room and mahalo all of you for allowing our keiki to come to your sites, for the kupuna to come into our programs and teach our keiki the mo'olelo and their stories. Everyone. Kaipu Makani, Kiavanui, Aina Pula Pula, the kupuna program. We're so excited to always be able to use your funds. So we've used OHA funds to bless the rest of our community and not just in our school, but work with and fund other programs in our community. So we are so glad you're here tonight to listen to some of our opportunities, some of where we lack resources and where we may need kakō in the future. Another big part of our immersion program is that we are the only island with a consortium of all immersion schools. So Molokaʻi is called Keaukahi Olelo Hawaii o Molokaʻi, consisting of all the 4 immersion schools on island, private, charter, DOE. We made our own consortium together to bridge education throughout all of the schools so that Hawaiian language immersion is living in all of our, in our larger community and with all of our ohana. And so Keaukahi o Lalo Hawaii consists of Punana Leo o Molokaʻi, Kuala Pu'u Charter School, Ohina Ikmalama Middle School, and Ohina Ikmalama Kulaki'eki'e High School. And then we have community partners, the Maui Education Resource, Molokaʻi Resource Center, so Maui College. We have the Kupuna program, Alulike program supports us, and KS Resource Center. And we would love, OHA has supported us with another grant in that area for parent engagement and cultural learning. So that is what we're doing at Kuala Pu'u, and all the great things that we'd love to do with more kako'o and more resources to help our whole community here in Molokaʻi.
That is
Mahalo.
wonderful.
Okay.
I do have, can we ask a question?
Yeah, Henry now. Hiki. Anyone have questions? Hiki no.
Oh, go ahead, of course.
Well, thank you for your comments and your presentation. And I think what you said, really resonates with the Board of Trustees. And one of the things that we are doing in this year's budget, which will be presented before the board on Monday, is we are realizing the federal funding cuts that potentially are coming to the Department of Education and the Native Hawaiian Education Act. And so what we want to do is maximize every single dollar that we fund to Hawaiian-focused charter schools. So we're doing something differently in our budget this year. There are 17 Hawaiian-focused charter schools throughout the state identified by the Charter School Commission. This school is one of them. In our budget, which is posted today, your school, Kuala Pu'u Elementary School, along with the other 16 Hawaiian-focused charter schools, will be receiving $176,500 in FY26 and $176,000 in FY27. Your school will receive a total of $353,000 over the next 2 years from the Office of Hawaiian Affairs.
Mahalo Anui, mahalo Keapua.
And it'll be used for programmatic funding or facilities funding.
Mahalo.
Whatever you think you need to do to succeed, we want to help you succeed. So
Thank
we
you so
encourage all
much.
of you to take a look at our budget that we posted tonight. It's coming in front of our Board of Trustees on Monday. But these are one of the things that Chair Alapa, the chair of our Budget and Finance Committee, felt was really, really important, is that we maximize every single penny that goes to our Hawaiian-focused charter schools. We remove some of the bureaucracy and red tape that might have been part of previous grants, and let you just do what you do best, which is exactly what the Board of Trustees heard tonight. So congratulations, and we
Mahalo
look forward to
nui
working
loa.
with you.
And so we're so grateful. One more thing I wanted to add before I leave tonight. So Bean, I presented about this grant for a Hawaiian language immersion program. Our kula and the other kula on island are DOE English medium education programs. So I wanted to make a point as the new leader of Kuala Pu'u School. We have English and Hawaiian programs, but like Auntie Titi said, 95% of all the keiki students on Molokaʻi are Native Hawaiian students. And so it is our goal and our dream to bring culturally relevant education to all of our schools, DOE, private, and charter schools on the island. So mahalo nui loa. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you so much. We have our last presentation of the evening, and would like to call upon, we saved the best for last. I call it dessert. I'd like to bring Tricia Mersberg to the front. Please come on up. How about a round of applause for Tricia? She's Vice President of the Board of Directors, speaking on the home repair project with the Ho'olihua Hawaiian Homestead Association. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up for this? Okay.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay, I can sit down and talk story with somebody person, so forgive me if I kind of stutter or I just groups just make me nervous. Again, I am part of the Holyoke Homestead Association. This is our third year running on the board. I am the VP and the committee chairperson for the Health and Wellness Committee. And part of our Health and Wellness Committee, we chose renovations for our members, kupunas. And I was actually willing to go and rap loud and sell loud just to make money so I can help somebody. That my goal. My goal was joining this association was to help our people, our homesteaders, because there's a lot of homes that need repairs. There's a lot of health problems with our people that I know growing up, here on Molokaʻi, on 40-acre farm, farming with my grandparents. So that was my goal is to eventually, hopefully, have enough that I can help our entire island from east to west, north to south, with renovations. Or I can come to your house, use skips, build you one little box, you can plant your tomatoes and your cucumbers, something. But when Ho'ohana Molokaʻi donated $25,000 to us for renovations, mahalo. I'm a farmer, not a carpenter, so that was a kind of like, okay, now I gotta step up and learn. But we do give thanks to Ho'ohana for our donation. So our mission can you go to me? Our mission is to help Holyoke homesteaders grow, revitalizing its food systems, maintaining a subsistence lifestyle, and increasing long-term economic health. The big word being health. If your house is full of mold, it's not a healthy environment. If your wall get one puka, you can see from inside to your garage outside, that's not healthy. Your roof leak, the rest of your walls leak too. That's not healthy. I mean, if I was a billionaire, yep, I would go and help as everybody I can, but I cannot. So our board consists of Charles Ka'ahanui, President, myself, Vice President, our Secretary, Fina Agliam Kauai, our Treasurer, Luann Fabrito, Director, Justin Avalino, Wayne Kauai, and Chrissy Pereira. Each one of us have our own committees: education, water, homesteading, policies, fundraising, veterans and veterans advocate, and then, of course, me, health and wellness. So these are pictures of, we had 7 different projects done so far with the monies that we were donated. I went to the houses, checked, okay, auntie, what you need help with. So some, like for instance, this one, she's a handicapped elder kupuna that her walkway to get to her car or back in her house leaked. So every time she rained, she'd get leaked on. So I was like, Auntie, we go see what we can do. So, we got the material, we redid her whole entire roof above her walkway. Now she's always dry. We covered the side where the rain would come in with the wind. She's happy. So this is the before pictures. You can just keep going. That's during. And here comes the after. Okay, project number 2, another kupuna, which I would actually like to call on if she has anything to say. This was her project. This is all before. This is the after, or during and after. Her window. So this is Auntie Christina Aki. Go ahead.
Aloha. I just want to say thank you. I could not have done it by myself. Thank you.
Yeah, the next house we did, So you see the foundation? That's the foundation of the house right there. A lot of our homes up in Ho'olehua look like that. This one is one of my family members, and I told my auntie, "Holy crap, auntie! I don't believe your house still standing with the thing looking like that." The one on go back to that other one, please. The one on the right-hand side, that is where the electric line connects to the house on the roof. So these are the types of renovations that our kupuna, even my age group, our age group, even the younger ones that have homestead, if they came into homes that were from their great grandparents, that's what they probably look like right now after the generations. So this is what we need help with and help our people. My auntie's window, of course, we redid 5 of her windows. That was my husband and my cousin-in-law working on that. We did her 5 windows. Because her windows were actually being held together on the outside with tape, caulking, paint. So it's like, auntie, what the heck? So when we went over there to take them off, it was like, just poop, and there went the window, like, whoa. But there's also a lot of houses with windows. So this was another project. Her son came home. We gave them the material that they needed because her husband leaned on his door and literally went through the side of the door because the wood was rotted. So we gave them the material and the son helped put it all together. So a lot of our houses, not only up in Holihua, also down in Kalamaula, Kapa'akea, Oneli, they're older houses, so they do need help with renovations. Not everybody can afford it. This house, they had some spots in the wall that were kind of indented in from weather. So we redid. Justin Avalino was one of my hardworking laborers that went in, filled in the spots, and repainted the whole house for auntie and uncle. And now you cannot miss their house. Even the hunters cannot miss their house because it's bright yellow. Yeah, so before and after. And this one was another kupuna that parks her car underneath. She had several surgeries on her back. So in order to get to her car, if she would get wet and slippery, in her garage because her roof leaked. So we redid her garage roof to get to it. This is one of the last projects that we worked on. We still have more projects that we're working on. But can you go back to the last? Oh, no, one more up. There. This is, in this case, it's like the roof is, we gotta redo the roof. Roofs is one of the most expensive projects to work on. I've went in, I calculated, I had help because, I'm not a carpenter, so I don't know what kind of wood we need for this or what size wood we need for that. So I had help with, them telling me what kind of wood you're going to use, what kind of asphalt. And it's about $10,000 to $20,000 for a roof to be repaired. Which is like, okay, wait, my pocket empty, sorry. But in this case, their roof needs to be repaired, yes, obviously. But their kitchen wall, because of all that leaking, has mold and is splitting apart from the top to the bottom. And this is kind of projects that, I talked to Habitat for Humanity, got intake forms, and I told them, I'm not trying to do your job, but our people need help over here, and I send them pictures like this kind of stuff. I said, I know you guys know this is the kitchen wall inside with the mold, which is dangerous. And the bottom corner one is a piece of newspaper stuck in the ceiling where there's a hole. So it's houses like these that make me so, because they gotta live like that. But we could afford to do their porches. So now they can go outside and not fall through or fall off. So we could do that.
Trisha, you have an amazing group of people that you can tell there's a lot of love goes into all of the repairs, and you did a great job. Mahalo to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Hi.
So all of the projects you showed us, all are in Ho'olehua Homesteaders Association for the most part.
Yes.
So they're all DHHL lessees,
Yes,
private point homestead land. Yeah.
yes.
And the average cost in the work you guys have been doing on a home repair,
The average, because we had
materials,
just
labor.
a little bit, with labor, came out to about 15,000. If I was to break down every project that we did from, because there's a couple in there that we're not done with yet, but we just need more funding to help finish. Would be about 15,000 per. But the ones with the roofs and the wall, like that last one we did, is a lot more.
And this is not unique to Molokaʻi. Panaeva Homestead in Big Island,
Mhm.
we have these systemic issues across all of our homestead communities, or many of our older homestead communities as well.
Well, I believe.
It's one of the reasons why this board has taken this issue so seriously, and under the chair's leadership, the board will be considering next week a total of $1.5 million through the Malama Honua Home Repair Program. That will be a statewide home repair program to help Native Hawaiian beneficiaries, OHA's beneficiaries, to do home repairs and do exactly this. And they'll be working together with Koike, who is the director of our housing PAIA within our strategies and implementation team. And the idea is that maybe we can make a little dent on these major home repair issues that our homesteaders and our Native Hawaiian community are facing. So in our budget, we have $1.5 million, $750,000 for each fiscal year for the next 2 years, and the Board of Trustees will be considering that over the next 2 weeks.
Thank you.
I'm very, very pleased to see the progress.
Yeah.
Auntie, you can go on the mic so people online can hear.
No, because I know a lot of people were there, so sometimes I cannot bite the spoon. A lot of times I speak, I cannot bite the spoon that take care of me. And I know you folks know what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying, that's great that you're talking about the fight $1 million, because her situation, the issue of Molokaʻi, it is an issue. But for me personally, and she's talking about habitat, for me, there's small money, small. So for my question is, what matching fund or what organization like DHHL that be able to match you folks?
So the first thing that comes to my mind, that's a great question, is how can OHA leverage these funds with community partners like DHHL, not just community partners, but the lead principal state agency that manages and executes the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act. So that would be the first thing I think of. Second one would be the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement that does home repair and I believe vocational trades programs. And so the resources we have, we hope to be able to leverage with other community partners. And that's a great suggestion you made for us.
And one more, and another one was a great issue too, was scholarships. And how students graduate from high school and it's all about financial literacy. As you may know, that DOE do not teach financial literacy. And sometimes teaching financial literacy, and we have a lot of, what do you call that? Practitioners, that would, I guess that would be the word, that teaches that. But sometimes when you talk about financial literacy, I'm giving somebody from Molokaʻi my dirty laundry, okay? It needs to be very private if you want them to reveal their laundry. Because to tell you the truth, I'd rather tell you who I had sex with. That's a joke. Than telling me about money. So the thing is, but it is for real. People don't want to talk about their no matter how you laugh. Let's be truthful. I rather tell you who I had sex with than tell you what is my financial. Because financial is very sensitive. So a suggestion is that sometime a third party learn teaching financial literacy in school, which you don't learn it from school, right? Because what I'm saying is that you can go college, but there's two things that are gonna hold you back. One is childcare. I mean, child support. You don't, all of that kind of stuff. Another one is college loans. If you don't know how to take care of your financial loan, your college loan, and you have child support, you ain't becoming a homeowner till you clean that up. So for me, and I used to teach those kind of stuff, and those are the things that. So I hear the issue of Molokaʻi. I just been back for 4 years, and I think you know, tonight was good. I think was great is because many things I heard was success stories, right? So my question to me, and it's not to you both directly, that where is my Molokaʻi people that have issues and not really here? Because actually, I didn't come here to actually hear success story. I'm not the kind of person, I can read the paper, I can read your paper, right? But I like to know, and I hope that tomorrow, whatever you have, that people come and share their issues, their concerns, issues and concerns, not too much success stories, because you're already doing that.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we are at our community concerns and celebrations, and we do have several people signed up for this particular public testimony, and I'd like to call upon Kayla Shaw. And please, at this time, we want to make sure that we'll definitely put the timer on as to be respectful for others that will be testifying as well. And for our people that are here, we'd like to keep in mind the 5-minute mark. We will give you a 4 minutes and 30 seconds heads up to wrap it up. And if you finish early, no problem. So we do have, where's Kayla? Hi. Okay, so. Oh, no, no. No, we have the signups over here, that's why. So I gotta go with this and make that announcement on the 5-minute rule. So we'd like to utilize that so that we are mindful of everybody's time. So please go ahead, Kayla.
Aloha nui kako
Aloha.
o wau o Kayla ho'onauna hoku ka halewai shaw. No Maui mai au, noho au I Molokaʻi, ka ʻaina o ku'u mau kupuna. I have a two parts comments that I'm going to make. The first one is as a community member. I'm probably one of the newer community members here, but Ohana has been here for many years. My Ohana is Kahinu and Kalewai. I'm speaking to my community that I belong to now. And I wanted to say mahalo nui for being here and for allowing me to be a part of this community. I moved here in August to Malama, my kupuna, who is currently ill. She's, I'm here for my kupuna. And I do have 3 keiki and a husband. And one of the main things we look forward to is becoming a part of the community. I feel very blessed to be in this community and also to be able to work alongside one of my heroes, Uncle Walter Reddy at Aina Momona. So I will be seeing you guys tomorrow as well. Tonight, I was just supposed to speak on behalf of our award as the Hui Makua Punana Leo o Molokaʻi for the parent support Punana Leo o Molokaʻi, which is next door. However, I felt very inspired to speak on behalf of community because all of the organizations that I see here are the ones that are holding and creating that vai, that wealth, and that quality of life for my ohana here. That is where OHA has been funding, and I can say that where you are funding, looking at the numbers, our island Native Hawaiian population, we have 65% of the island's population that is Native Hawaiian.
these organizations that you are funding are touching every corner of this island and every corner of this Native Hawaiian population. I'm very proud to know that my keiki are in organizations or in programs that are funded by OHA that have that has a strong heart for our community. This has made me feel more at home than I could ever feel in just a few months. I grew a large community on Maui and I'm very proud to be here. I had to uproot and bring my family here for the purpose of my kupuna. And I look around and I see everyone here and the things that they do, they lock arms and they do it together. So whatever they receive, they make the most out of it. They do. And even more so, they're very grateful. So I encourage you to continue to look into our community. There's other organizations that are not funded that do amazing work, and they continue to reach into all these corners of our Native Hawaiian population here on Molokaʻi. And some of them are here tonight. And I want to acknowledge all of you. Whether you're funded or not, you continue to do the work. And to me, that should speak volumes to OHA in the kind of community that is represented here on Molokaʻi. Next, I just wanted to say mahalo as Ho'omau. Molokaʻi happened on May 3rd of this year. On Maui, I represented Ho'omau Maui for 5 years as chair and co-chair. If you have been to the Ho'omau on Maui, it is a signature event. It is the first place before I had keiki where I was able to feel very proud to be Hawaiian. Why? Because Olalo Hawaii, Eolaka Olalo Hawaii, the language was very prevalent, and that was the moment when I was like, okay, my keiki's gonna come here. Now, uprooting from Maui and coming here, Punana is the nest, and it was the place that I felt would be best for my keiki. And so it was only natural for me to step into the position. I do represent the Hui Makua as the treasurer, and I have our vice president, Paul Mai, who's here along with us. And we applied for the, what is the grant called? Kalamai. Yes. Yes, we applied for that. And I will say that the grant application was great. It was very easy. Like you had said, Kai.
30 seconds.
The red tape was kind of uplifted and we were able to utilize the funds to be able to put on an event and create that identity for a lot of our people here, remembering that Olalo Hawaii is part of our culture and part of who they are. So mahalo nui to you folks. And Kumai, aloha.
Aloha, kalamai. Ova o Molokaʻi amoksang no ho'olehua maiau. I just wanted to mahalo you guys. I was nervous, seeing all the big board people. We always see you guys on the TV and the news and in Peppers and all the big things you guys are doing for us Hawaiians. But mahalo nui, and mahalo nui for the grant you guys provided us for Ho'omau for our Punana Leo keiki. I'm a mother of 5. I'm a single parent, and it just brings tears to my eyes, just so we can see our keiki and our kanakas kuha'aheo stand proud as Hawaiians and having these opportunities to be able to express our culture and our language, and also as a makua of a child in also Kekula Kaiopuni o Kuala which guys grants for our la'ohanas. That meant a lot for me and my keikis coming together with our whole community and seeing all of us together, trying together and being an example for our kikis and what we're trying to perpetuate with them. And just mahalo nui.
Thank you so much. Our next testimony comes from Pulama Lima. Was that you guys? Oh, you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. Pulama Lima and Malia Kalave. The clock is in the upper, where is it?
That's 2,
I just
5
saw it.
and 5.
Oh, okay. So when it starts, you just kind of can see where the clock is in the upper left-hand corner. Okay.
Ikina, aloha nui kako, trustees, trustee Alapa, chair Kahele, ohana Molokaʻi, ke aloha nui a kako, aloha ihahe. My name is Pulama Lima. I'm the Executive Director of Kaipumakani Cultural Heritage Center. And sorry, Auntie Monique, I'm gonna give a little bit celebrations and then I'll get into what we struggling with over here at Molokaʻi. On behalf of Kaipumakani Cultural Heritage Center, we wanted to mahalo and acknowledge OHA for the Mo'omehil grant in support of our Moa'i Molokaʻi digital repository. Thank you, Kevin. Our Moa'i Molokaʻi digital repository is a searchable database, online searchable database. It's basically Molokaʻi's Papakilo database, where we reposit and archive Molokaʻi specific records, our primary and secondary resources. And we launched this database or repository in February of last year with the support of OHA. And it's been such a huge, has such a huge impact for our community to access our archival records. We've been pulling records from throughout the Pai'aina, those not located on Molokaʻi, because we know how difficult it is for us to go and make the reservation on Mokulele. You may or may not fly, book the car reservation and the hotel to go and access these records. We've partnered with so many institutions, organizations, and community members on Molokaʻi to digitize their records, to make it available to our community, not just for access, but for preservation and to Malama. And so we are here today. We don't have a fancy presentation. We do have brochures we can pass out later on. But I wanted to bring up Melia. She is our newly anointed Molokaʻi born and bred, only certified archivist on Molokaʻi, to talk more about the program.
Aloha nui kako, aloha to Molokaʻi and to the OHA trustee members. I just want to share a bit about our successes and what we look forward to now that we received the Mo'omehil grant. And so don't mind me, I'm just gonna look at my phone for some notes because we have a lot of numbers that I do want to share about. And so starting with the first year of our grant, for the Mo'omehil grant, we focused primarily on digitizing the Molokaʻi newspaper collection housed at the Molokaʻi Public Library. And with that, we were able to hire 2 interns who helped us to digitize a total of 2,821 scans of 8 different newspapers, all Molokaʻi produced newspapers, ranging from the 1950s to the 1980s, and the oldest being the Kaleo Molokaʻi newspaper, which was published in the 1950s. And so with the support from this funding, was able to digitize the entire Kaleo Molokaʻi collection. And with the other newspapers, it was a total of 917 issues that we'll be adding to our repository. In addition to the newspaper collection, we processed 16 other collections, digitizing 10,684 more photographs, film strips, and documents such as reports and surveys, some dating back to 1900. In the second year of our grant cycle, one of our main priorities was processing and stabilizing audiovisual materials. Early on, we identified a valuable collection of VHS tapes that showed significant mold damage. And so with the support from the grant, we were able to send these tapes to a professional vendor for cleaning and restoration. And we also purchased audiovisual digitization equipment, allowing us to begin digitizing these tapes as well as cassette tapes. And so far with this grant and with the interns, we have 27 hours of audio recordings and 21 hours of video footage, all pertaining to the culture, history, and people of Molokaʻi. Alongside these efforts, we also did community reach and crowdsourcing events, which helped us to identify people and places from the photograph collections that we digitized. One particular collection being hundreds of film strips captured at events and activities in the Molokaʻi community from the 1980s. And so with that, we hosted a community event to help identify people from the Filipino community, being that these photos reflected a lot of Filipino immigration in the 80s. And so that was really cool. And another successful event that we had was being asked to showcase the history of Olelo Hawaii revitalization in our community at Ho'omau. And so we were able to archive the Punana Leo collection and create an exhibit. And I think looking ahead, we're just excited to plan for a newspaper launch of all the newspapers we digitized. We look forward to adding audio and video footage of our to our repository. And for me, it's continuing to provide opportunities, internship opportunities to teach and share archival and preservation skills with Molokai people. Hearing all these mo'olelo that come from these different organizations and businesses, I think this is a super important addition to what we already know, and mainly connecting our next generation to our rich history, our mo'olelo and our mo'oku'ohau to Molokaʻi. So mahalo nui.
Well, Maya, and to close, and it won't be long. I taking my instruction from Auntie Monique. She said to talk about the issues that we're facing, and one of the major issues, and Chair Kahede, you mentioned it earlier, was I'm going to call it an attack from the Trump administration and the federal cuts specifically to heritage preservation and our archives and our museums. You know, we all know the first thing to do to kind of disempower Indigenous people is to take away their language. And then the second is to erase their history. And that is what is happening on Molokaʻi. Our history is being erased every single day because we do not have the infrastructure to care for our cultural resources. We don't have an archive here. We don't have a certified museum in a sense. And that is something that we've started at Ka'ipumakani Cultural Heritage Center. We've had community members come to us with film strips from the early 1940s, early ranching days, inside coffee tins that was in their garage of their papa's house, in their attics. And we're trying to restore them, we're trying to digitize them, we're trying to preserve them so that these histories can continue for our island. So my question, I guess, is how does OHA see itself in sort of that lifeboat? Because there's lots of Native Hawaiian organizations that are struggling with the budget cuts from DOGE. Mahalo for sharing what you folks are gonna do with the charter schools. That is super exciting, and can't wait for that. But I'd be interested to hear if you folks have other plans for other areas that have been impacted by those cuts. Mahalo.
It's a great question. Specifically to the archival work that you're doing, I know it's unique to Molokaʻi and the documents and all the things that are very important for preservation. One of the things we're doing in this budget, and he's not here tonight, but he was here last night, which is Kale Hannes, along with Auntie Lucy, who is does all of our genealogical work, is we're investing additional resources into our research and evaluation team, specifically in positions and funding that continue to invest in our Papakilo, Kipuka, and our Native Hawaiian data book. Those are like three really unique things that we have at OHA, and that almost data sovereignty for Native Hawaiian data that is really important. And so I would encourage working together with Kale and the work that he's doing and the team that he'll continue to build, specifically around the work that you're doing. As far as OHA's, like other Native Hawaiian serving organizations, whether it's DHHL or Kamehameha Schools or other Ali'i trusts, we're all trying to prepare for hopefully what is not the worst case scenario, but in the event that we do see federal funding cuts specifically to Native Hawaiian programs or programs that have, in the eyes of the current administration, a racial preference to them, including Native American programs and Native Alaskan programs. We are as a Lahui looking at how we can help backstop those resources. And one of the things we do have is some carryover funds from our current budget right now that we may be able to support with the board's approval in the event that we do have Native Hawaiian serving organizations that see their funding cut. So I think the best advice I would have is to make sure that we have a direct line of communication with your trustee Alapa, And if you do see cuts like that or hear of cuts that are happening to other Native Hawaiian organizations that you work with within your ecosystem, that we really need to know that as soon as possible so that we can make some of those decisions and work with the other partners that we have. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. And before I forget, because we're down to our last two testimonies, as I mentioned earlier in the evening about the grand opening of the OHA office, please come down. If you guys haven't seen it, please come over. We'll be open from 8 to 4:30, and you get a chance to see what your house is like. And can't wait for you folks to check it out. So I'm going to call upon Lena Ala Lopez. Would you mind coming up, Lena Ala? And she's with the Kamehameha Celebrations Commission. Nice.
Aloha. Aloha trustees. I'm Lena Ala Lopez. My hat tonight is Molokaʻi Commissioner for the King Kamehameha Celebration Commission. We just wrapped up our event Friday and Saturday. And I know you guys met Tyler today. So he's our organizer for our event. Me and him work side by side to plan. So we just wanted to mahalo OHA for helping finance our event this weekend. It covered cultural demonstrations and workshops. So we had lei making, and we supported a lot of local vendors, a lot of local people. So we did lei making, and then we bought leis from them to lei people at our event. We did a poi workshop at our ho'olaulea, like a 4-hour poi workshop where they could pound the poi and make their own pa'i'ai. We had 3 halaus total that we had Friday and Saturday. Our ho'olaulea featured 24 food and craft vendors, all on island and all local people. We had a local designer brand fashion show that was featured Friday night. And then we had our Olelo tent that kids had to go around to each vendor and get a stamp by speaking Olelo. And then they could go back and get a prize. And then it also covered our promotion and marketing. We supported a local designer for our Kamehameha banner, and we now have the rights to use it in all of our promoting and website and all of our going forward. And then it covered logistics and operations, which seems small, but it's the behind the scenes work, the moving of our stages from one vendor to the other, sound equipment, setting up our tents. And then Kilia also helps us with our Opala tent. So we do rent out like a bin, but their Opala tent takes everything. So they take all of the Opala, the food, the utensils, the paper plates. So it's really like they only give us like 1 rubbish bag for our bin throughout the night. Yeah, from like 5 to 9. And the kids walk around and they have interns and they go, you guys get rubbish, and they collect it from the food vendors, from the whole community. They go around through the whole tent. So it's pretty awesome. And this is just one of the hats that we all wear in our community. Yeah. So I just wanted to say aloha and mahalo so much. Thank you.
Yeah, let me add on to that. Is that okay?
Go ahead, go ahead.
So I want to make sure that those that came tonight really understand the program that we have. So our Hoa Koa Koa sponsorship program, which is led by our Chief Operations Officer, Ke Haupu'u, and her team. Through your Board of Trustees, in this upcoming budget, we are allocating about $880,000 to sponsorships for, hundreds of, well, maybe that's a stretch, but a lot of Native Hawaiian serving organizations throughout the state. And in this particular budget, there's $630,000 in 2 fiscal years dedicated to funding events like this. And it's not just the check that gets sent to the recipient, but it is the second, third, fourth order of effects and all the things that happen because of that resource that you're able to get and all the people that are able to benefit from it. And so we really are proud to support events like this. And I saw somebody walking around town today with one of the green shirts that featured
yeah.
Mary Kavena Pukui on the back of it.
Yes, we actually honored her this year.
Yes.
As a whole, our whole Hawaii did.
Yeah, that's
on each
incredible.
island.
And so
Yeah.
it's an honor to support this event. We look forward to supporting these events as they continue in the future. And mahalo for sharing that with us.
Mahalo,
Yeah.
mahalo. I also want to mention that, once we step into these community events, then it's like, okay, you helping with everything. So we're doing like, Lena, what you doing? And that's how that's how we roll over here. So we do like Aloha Week and Kulaia. So thank you. We all do what we can to continue these events for our island. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. Great job, you guys. And our last speaker, our testimony is with Ruth Costales. Is she here? Yeah. And yeah, okay, so there she is. Okay, hi, Ruth. And so she's with of course, she just talked about Kalaupapa and so forth. So hi, aloha.
Aloha
And
again.
we're gonna start your time right. Did you guys start her time right now?
So I think I took you guys 80 days around the world, and I thought being number one that I just kind of uncover everything. But on top of the many concerns that we have, I think one of the greatest concerns here in Molokaʻi is our medical services, and I think you guys wrote about that. And I just like quote what Lynn said because that's all true. She quotes this, nobody from Molokaʻi would testify, which was upsetting, and it is upsetting. And one of many reasons is either meetings are held when we are working, or those that testify are actually not from here. But let me finish. Decoit believes the lack of public testimony reflects the tension to preserve Molokaʻi's identity without foregoing essential services or funding. Plenty of our kupuna here, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of our kupuna who are still here believe in old-time medicine, although our sicknesses have evolved into many different things that not even a lot of our la'aulapa'au, which I believe Uncle Bobby here still believes in, we need extra. Another one of her quotes was, Decoit wants to raise awareness of the challenges that faces in getting funds when there is a lack of community voices who favor business opportunities that would result in more transportation and lodging options on Molokaʻi. Which means and brings us to an understanding that a lot of our people that voice these concerns are mostly more concerned about tourism here on Molokaʻi besides medical. And we've had this way before. In fact, many years ago, I think when La'au was up for grabs for Molokaʻi Ranch, and there was this whole plan. And the plan was for better medical services. If we had opened all of this, medical services would be better here. Which brings me to think that sometimes it's not easy to swallow the fact that the definition of our people here has become a commodity for others outside. When we talk about medical services here on Molokaʻi, and Dr. Aluli was one of the last of those doctors who we might think that we get angry at because they're doctors, but actually he was the only doctor that if you was in his office at 8 o'clock in the night, he stayed there to listen to you, even though if you never listened to him. So anyway, but I wanted to thank OHA because you guys get plenty kuleana on your guys' plates. And to go to every island and to listen to all the concerns, and especially the concerns of one small rural community that is pretty much ongoing. I like congratulate you on that. Congratulations to all the organizations here and those community members who have showed up. So you can see what the reflection is because this is not our whole community. The goal and the prayer is that more of our community will show up, more of our children will show up, but they also understand the plight that we take, the plight that our kupuna take. The generation of my children, they love their kupuna. And they were taught by their kupuna. And in fact, one of my daughters has the opportunity of working where she loves working, which is in Kalopopo. And the medical services that were down there is another reflection of how it has evolved. Most of the patients have found a lot of solace in the medical attention that they've had, and some have not. But I'm pretty sure it's statewide. I'm pretty sure it's nationwide. But thank you for your listening ears, and ahui ho.
Mahalo. Go ahead, you can bring it up so you can note it back for them to hear.
One of the things we'd like to highlight in our proposed budget, because it's really crunch time for the board as we get to the end of this fiscal year, and it connects with what Kilio was saying earlier about post-baccalaureate higher education scholarships and how we tie that to rural Native Hawaiian healthcare. And here on Molokaʻi, like other rural communities, healthcare is hard to come by. And whether it's, the Native Hawaiian Healthcare Act through Napu'uwai, or private practitioners like Dr. Aluli, and God bless him, he's no longer here with us today, or Queens and Molokaʻi General Hospital. What we want to do is invest in the next generation of Native Hawaiian kauka and have them come from their island so they can go get educated, ideally through our medical school on Oahu at the University of Hawaii, and then come back here to serve. But one of the biggest barriers that they have, assuming they're able to get at least their bachelor's degree, is going to medical school, is preparing to take the MCAT, and those really difficult courses to be able to qualify and get into med school, let alone afford med school. So there's two things that we're doing in our proposed budget. The first is offering higher education scholarships post-baccalaureate for the next Native Hawaiian attorneys, juris doctorates, PhDs, doctors. And so we're dedicating $500,000 to post-baccalaureate Native Hawaiian scholarships to do exactly that. And then partnering with the Johnny Burns School of Medicine and the Department of Native Hawaiian Health, two of the proposals that they have is the ability for us to fund at least, up to 50 stipends and students, and in one case, 60 stipends and students to help them take their MCAT, help them to the testing to prepare for that. And so those are the two things that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs is doing to address the rural Native Hawaiian healthcare crisis, or rural healthcare crisis that we have, and that's in our proposed budget that will be taken up over the next few weeks. So we hope that we'll be able to help. And what we'd really like to do is identify students in your community that want to be doctors. And if they know that from elementary school or middle school or high school, how can we help them achieve that? Or we can help fund them to go to get their undergraduate degree, then go get their medical degree, and then come back here to Molokaʻi to be able to be, medical practitioners serving this community. So that's exactly what we want to invest in. Mahalo.
And thank you. And then on that note, thank you so much, everyone, for being here this evening and sharing your mana'o with us. And trust me, we are listening, and you're hearing on behalf of our chair the many things that we are looking at to help support and to give more monies out to our people so that you folks will be able to achieve the goals, to achieve seeing that our people are going to be able to live a better life, because we're all deserving of that. So mahalo everyone for being here. At this time, we're going to hold our Board of Trustee meetings tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. right here. We're going to have a little breakfast served and so forth. We like to invite everyone to come out. But if you guys did enough tonight, no problem. You can watch it online tomorrow. And we wish everyone a wonderful and safe evening. Thank you for joining us. And at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for adjournment. All right, we have been moved by Trustee Souza and seconded by Trustee Kahele. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Yes.
Mahalo.